Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the TrashTalk podcast. I'm here with a very, very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Welcome. I'm Nikandros.
Oh, you did the thing. You did the thing with your voice. That's great.
Uh,
I've got to say, you've got a great commentary voice. Like
a lot
I
of a
haven't
lot of
spoken to
people
anyone
say
that's
that,
that imposing. You're like, it's a really imposing voice as well. It's like fucking terrifying.
yeah.
But like you really got it. I feel like if I was Mutahar sitting there and this guy's like saying like I faked my job, I've done this or whatever, I'd be fucking shitting myself.
Well, if
You know.
you look at his YouTube activity, that seems to be the case somewhat.
Yeah. Yeah, he hasn't like. What do you think? That's because he's doing a response. He's seen the backlash or anything, or is it just like coincidental? What's your thoughts on that?
There's no way it's coincidental. Come on.
Like,
I saw Mutahar's longtime friend
yeah.
Kyle, Extreme Elixir. He was like defending Mutahar on his subreddit, saying like, "Oh, he's just taking a break. It's a pure coincidence." Okay.
He just can't. But like, it would be the biggest coincidence on the planet that like he just
Oh, yeah.
happens to take a break when that all blows up. I mean, didn't as well. His wife say that they were getting doxxed because of this.
Yes. She claimed that my video was participating in a light dox. Dox of Mutahar's GameStop.
But like, I watched the video right in its entirety. I watched it several times. Other people react to it as well, like Nicholas Durio watch it. I watched it myself. I watched Dickers watch it. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with the video. There isn't like a doxing part, right? I mean, even the end, like you're not exactly you're not doxing him or anything.
Well,
I
no,
mean,
not
you went
really,
out your
just,
way to show you. Like show him how, so you know, don't fucking like reveal this type of like information.
Well, I will be
you know.
forward about the fact that it did make me feel a bit uneasy, and at a point I was thinking like, okay, I should probably add in like a thing at the end here, like, hey, if you reach out to me and you're uncomfortable with this, I can like trim this out.
Yeah. Would you do you regret doing that, or is that something you still stand by?
I mean, if Mutahar reaches out to me and says like, hey, can you remove that out? Yeah, I can do that if it's causing problems.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I just can't see it causing problems though. I feel like if it is causing problems, I feel like they're blowing it out of proportion and trying to make it seem worse to victimize themselves. I can't imagine it's doing that much harm. Or
Yeah,
as much harm as they're trying to like bang on about.
In like the Toronto area, there's like 100, 200 different GameStop locations or EB games. So like, even if you didn't do the thing that I did, someone who's insane enough to actually do something terrible with that information, they're gonna find that GameStop, brute force or otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, you put it out into the world, right? Like it is what it is, right? I mean, I guess the only critique to be had there is maybe you just won't risk it, right? But there isn't like it's not like you've put like a big marker on his house or anything. Like this is where Mutahar lives. So yeah, they're blowing out of proportion, right? Trying to victimize themselves. But because ultimately they can't really respond. Like, I mean, if he was a real engineer, he would just come up with his qualifications, surely.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. It isn't a hard thing to disprove. I mean, because the ball is in his court, ultimately. You're taking a bigger risk than he is. Because he's got all the information. Like, he can come out and just squash your video easily if it was, false. But he hasn't. It's been, like, a long time now. Or, like, a long time in internet days. Yeah. In internet time.
6 days when he went quiet, to be specific.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's clearly, like, I'm assuming working on some type of response, right? I think it would be ludicrous if he didn't at least mention it or talk about it. I mean, it's blown up across the internet, as we were saying just before. We got into the podcast. It's got over 400,000 views. All the topic commentary channels, including myself and all these other channels, have picked up and spoken about it in some way, shape, or form. But just for people that might not be as well educated on the topic, might not have seen your video in full, what was it about?
Well, it's I looked into Mutahar's like claims about like what his real job is, because he I did get some DMs from people saying that hey, you didn't get this from me, but Mutahar has told some weird stories about his employment or like the job that he has over the years. And I decided to use this tool that I like to use called filmit.com to search through his video library and kind of timeline the claims he's made about his job. And I found I searched for like, ooh, my job, that phrase, and work, an office and things like this. And eventually, I came across video editor, engineer, then different kinds of engineer. Then I looked into like degree or education or school. And I just made that timeline.
Yeah, and how long did that take? Like, because that doesn't seem like an extreme process, but that's still like a lot of like effort to get those clips, like search up those words and try and find all the stuff you need. Like, how long was that process to like make that video?
Well, if you use if you go to the Filmer website, you can just like plug in the channels. Like I
Yeah.
put in like Some Ordinary Gamers, the fan VOD archive, and then like the podcast. And you just like type in quotes like my job, and then like there's like an or operator that's like a straight
Yeah.
line, and then whatever else other terms. And you just like click on the matches, and you instantly see like, is this something? And I check the context and make sure it's not like out of context, and I just type it into a document. And that process, like you could do it in like a couple afternoons
Yeah, definitely.
to map out like the entire timeline of somebody's claims of what kind of job they've had.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the worst bit about that is just watching that much Mutahar content. Even if it is just the exact clip, I think that drives me fucking insane. Because he just repeats himself quite a lot, but changes like what I noticed, and I think what a lot of people noticed is he says a lot of the same, but he changes just little details every single fucking time he speaks. About his job, about whatever he's doing. And I mean, like, although, like, I've seen quite a few people say, well, look, this isn't like such a big deal, right? He's only lying about his job. But if he's like going to like an extreme of lying about this to like such a big extent, right, over the last like decade, what else is he lying about, right? Puts doubt on like loads of other things he said, has huge ramifications, and it's just a ridiculous thing to lie about in the first place. Because ultimately, no one gives a fuck what his job is. If YouTube is actually his real job, if it's not, if you're just honest with that, no one's gonna give a shit. Like it does just seem the most absurd thing to lie about because ultimately, at the end of the day, the large majority of YouTubers that you watch, probably have jobs in real life, probably don't have jobs in real life, and no one cares. It's only if you actively lie about it, you bring attention to it, and you make people care. I can't imagine. I can imagine. I 100% know why he's done it, right? To like boost his credibility, seem like he's this like more professional guy. Boost his credentials. But I just can't imagine why you would take that risk, knowing that, like, especially now, these tools are available where you can just go back through and find all the clips where he's spoken about his job. It just seems like a huge risk to take. And
well, even like
Mhm.
even Pirate Software, like he's supposed to be this like very smart guy, but
Yeah,
he doesn't understand like even to people that are not like very coding efficient or like don't have like that knowledge. Like they can use tools like this to like map out every time he's told that story about his second puberty.
yeah.
Actually, Lord Crust has done a video just recently where
Mhm.
he does that in the end.
Well, yeah, I mean, these tools are so publicly available now, right? You don't have to have like big technical knowledge, right? I'm not somebody. I'm shit with technology, right? I'm not like a coder or anything like that.
I
Shit
don't
with
know anything
computers, all
about
this
code
type of
either.
stuff. Yeah, I'm fucking useless. But these type of websites and stuff just make it 10 times easier to find information, and kind of put people that are like not so great with technology and stuff, kind of on like an equal playing field when it comes to finding these, right? Finding these clips, finding these damning pieces of evidence. I just don't know why you'd like risk lying about something as stupid as this, that can kind of put like a big flaw and a big hole in your whole like identity online, right? All the things you've said. I mean, it makes people doubt a lot of the things, right? I wouldn't trust anything Mutahar says now. I mean, I wouldn't before, right? But this is like kind of cemented that. And when he does respond, or if he responds, what type of things do you think he's going to respond with? Of course, we have no idea, right? But you've covered Mutahar quite a lot. What do you think his like approach is going to be to the whole situation?
I have genuinely no idea. It's possible that he doesn't say anything at all and just continues on like normal, or it's
Yeah.
possible that he says something. One thing that like Harmful Opinions has been hoping for is that he claims that he worked as an unlicensed engineer, which would mean that he would admit to violating those regulations, the
That'd be
practice
funny.
regulations, and not just the title regulations or the title
See,
violation.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what I'd want more, right? For him to actually actively respond to it and try and like, fumble over their claims, or not to respond to it, because I feel like if he doesn't respond to it and just continues to move on, people are only just going to keep shitting on him more. because he's actively ignoring it and trying to like move past it without saying anything. And I think they just stir and annoy people more. Whereas if he does respond, although like I think it'd be fucking hilarious for him to respond and like fumble or whatever, you kind of got that not conclusion, but you've kind of got that response, right? You've actually got like an official statement from him. Where if he doesn't say anything, he's just kind of adding fuel to the fire by not addressing it, by just trying to ignore it and moving on. You're just going to stoke people's anger more. Which ultimately, I think that's probably what he's trying to avoid, right? He doesn't want people to get more angry because I mean, his comment section is filled with people talking about being like an engineer. I know on that like most recent video, some of the top comments are talking about him being like an engineer.
Yep.
And I know you made a tweet, right? Like saying, look, like, I haven't asked for people to go over and like do anything, like whatever. But it's fucking hilarious, right? Reading these comments,
it is pretty
people,
funny. Yeah,
it's great.
Like,
Like,
I just want to like make a statement that like, hey, I don't recommend you do this or like stuff like that. Don't brigade.
Yeah, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, like it's got to such a big extent, you can't really control it, right? People are gonna do their thing.
It's gone way beyond like my audience, if that's even a thing.
Yeah, like or like we said before, all these topic commentary channels have covered it. It's picked up steam in other communities, in his own community. It's kind of like at the point where it's all well and good you saying like that because that covers your on us. But like it's got to an extent where you can't stop it, right? It's like all the people that comment like on iDubbbz's channel, right, making fun of him. Is what it is. That's no one's fault at this point, right? That it's just going to happen because of how big that's got. Not saying it's on the same level, but it's kind of got that same effect. Where people are going to do this regardless, because it has kind of like left your like channel, left your audience there, and it's gone out. I know we were speaking about this before the podcast, but did you like expect it to get to like the degree it has?
Not at all. I thought it was like 30K max.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, it blew up quickly as well. It wasn't like a slow burner and then it picked up a lot of steam.
100K in a single day
really,
by my stats.
Like because I'm like when I watched the video, it was probably within the first like few thousand. Given answer like linked me to it. And checked out was a good video. Thought it would do well, right? Because it is a big topic, or not a big topic, but like a interesting topic that could become big, right? And then when I was watching Dickers, it started getting more and more like views. But I didn't think it would get to like 400 or 1,000 like view level. Where like everyone's talking about it. Because that's insane, especially with like a topic like this about Mutahar. Like it is mental. I think it's got more views than his most recent video, which I think is kind of funny. But like, of course, this isn't your like first experience with Mutahar and like making like Mutahar content. You covered the Nux Taku stuff as well.
Yes, and it's also not the first time when I've made something that has caused Mutahar to go without making a daily upload for multiple days, but
yeah, you've got that under your belt twice and several times, in fact. You can hold that proudly above your head. And for people that maybe like aren't aware of like, I mean, don't explain the whole Nux Taku stuff, but like at least the Nux Taku like Mutahar stuff. What happened there?
So basically, that whole drama started out from like me like seeing Mutahar hop on a ChatLogic stream and make the announcement in the aftermath of the whole Mr. Beast, Ava Tyson drama, of like Ava Tyson being a fan of, being exposed as a fan of Shadman, right? Who is like a controversial online artist who makes like lolicon stuff and other very like paraphilic, let's say, illustrations. Yeah. And, plenty of creators where kind of like people went through, oh, who else has Shadman associated with? Because there were claims that, oh, the only reason why anyone cares about this is because of some political disagreement. But Nux Taku was found among those people. He got challenged on Twitter to explain his past associations with Shadman, and his initial response was to kind of omit that he had tried to his initial response was to admit that he had tried to collaborate with Shadman in 2021. And from there, I guess Mutahar saw that, and he got like very suspicious about Nux Taku. And a couple of days later, he goes on chat stream. he gets asked about it and he says, "Oh, this guy's clearly lying about not knowing about Shadman's like lolly art or like drawings of real children. He's definitely like hiding something. Why would he like initially? Why would he omit that information in his response?" And he says that the podcast, it was ending anyway. There's going to be a restructuring period, but the last episode is now over. A lot of it, or a lot of it, had to do with the Shad. Well, hold on a second. A lot of it had to do with the Shad stuff too, is the line, I believe. And yeah.
But I mean, because that caused like a huge Twitter frenzy. I mean, I remember when I posted the clip and Mutahar responded, kind of like trying to change the whole narrative, because he switched up very fast, right? This is probably one of the biggest and like first at least more mainstream type of examples of him lying and trying to change the narrative and trying to twist things. Because he very much went against what he said on that podcast. I mean, I remember that video where he hopped on, like, I believe it was Nux Taku's second channel, where he spoke about, like, the controversy. Nux got him on at the end. And, like, what he was saying there was completely different to what he had said on Chud.
Indeed.
And it was insane to see, like, two ends of the spectrum, right? To the point where, he's sitting there on fucking Nux's channel, talking about the controversy, talking about his replies to me and all this other stuff. So what did your video like cover, like in particular? Like was it just that, or was there like more to your video about
it? Which one of my videos?
All of them. Just like like your Nux Taku coverage of like Mutahar and just in general. What was your aim there, like to do?
Well, my like initial like coverage, I did release like the kind of high effort video in like last October, which covers the story from basically the start to the just before the confrontation between Shad and Mutahar. And
yeah,
after that, I've been after that I've been trying to do the part 2, but I was in the middle of that, and then post Nux Clarity happens. I'm like, what the fuck? And I kind of scramble like, oh, should I do like some kind of short response or like keep working on this? Then I like switch into something else, but then now I've gone back to trying to make like that whole like part 1, part 2, everything in one video with maybe some better argumentation regarding some of the stuff with Nux, because I believe in that video I like just show like, oh, you think Nux Taku isn't or shouldn't be held responsible for putting adult content on a 13+ platform, and you think that the parents of the children should be the ones that make sure that they're not seeing it. Well, that's what Ava Tyson said, which is not very good. Because I found actually clips of Nux Taku accusing Twitch or like criticizing the Twitch platform in 2024, and he's actually done it, much earlier and as well in 2021, criticizing the Twitch platform for allowing similar things to happen. And if you remember his video where he's like the music video, right? Twitch is hentai. Like that whole thing is about that kind of stuff. And it was released in like February of 2021. And what's interesting is that, in May of 2021, he released the video where he's like going through a comic where a little girl gets raped by a pack of monkeys, if that's appropriate to say.
Yeah, no, that's fine, yeah. Oh, not fine, but you know what I mean. Yeah, that's all good to say.
So yeah, and a couple months after that, he supposedly tried to request Shadman for a collaboration where he confronts him for, drawing lowly bestiality with fictional children. But he's had that kind of content on his channel. And there's quite an interesting timeline, he claims that, I only used one Shadman thumbnail in November of 2020. But actually there's quite a, not few, but 4 more of those. And also the one clip in December of 2021 where he's saying that I actually don't want Shadman in any trouble. Don't want to get him in any actual trouble.
Yeah.
Which is quite damning.
I mean, there are so many damning clips of Nux. So many damning screenshots, so many damning clips.
That guy is completely rotten.
Yeah, it's a disgusting individual. I'm surprised that they've still got such like a large audience. I mean, they've only got bigger, like because they're more political now, like on that more political side of stuff. And they've kind of gathered this like brand new audience. I like I'm never for like deplatforming or anything like that, right? But I'm just shocked that like anything like that hasn't happened, right? Like people haven't like pushed back more.
Indeed,
Because if it was anyone else, this person's fucking disgusting.
absolutely. And honestly, like the way how easily he just tells like the most insane lies, and the fact that he dares to fire shots at like Hassan Piker and other like content creators when he has this much baggage. It's
Yeah.
honestly kind of amazing. Like how the fuck, how do you do that? Like you have to be
It-
very brave or very
yeah.
foolish to play that game.
Yeah, because it's so easy to go like against him. All you have to do is like bring up one of these clips or one of these screenshots and go, "Well, look at you, mate. Like, at least I'm not doing this."
Yeah.
It just seems so like I got to commend him here, the confidence to be able to do that. When you've got all that fucking stuff like trailing behind you, it's insane. It's more insane that there's probably like a subsection of his current audience that just don't give a shit. That have
Or
seen
they
it,
just
don't
don't
care.
know.
Yeah, and that's what it is, right? Is it's going to be a mixture of old people that probably have a little bit of an understanding, right? And this brand new audience that he's like developed through more of these political means, right? Who have absolutely fuck all idea of this, and I mean, like he's been very lucky in that, being able to like not only get this like, kind of a newer audience that isn't going to be pushing back, has no idea, but be even bigger than he originally was like last year. Like he's in an
Hmm.
amazing position, unfortunately. Um, and it's crazy to see like how he's still got this huge bit of confidence to go after these people, when he's got this entire like giant history behind him. Personally, if I had all that, I would not be fucking doing that.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And
If I
um,
had that baggage, I would be like making videos about like collecting stamps, collecting
yeah,
stamps or something. No way am I touching drama after having like
yeah,
being like made out of glass, basically.
yeah. Fuck that. I'm like doing videos where I'm like building Lego sets or something. I'm not fucking like touching. Like I'm being so far removed from that. Like I just
I'm
couldn't
doing
think
I'm
of
doing
anything
reviews of
worse.
like wood varnishes and like
Yeah,
lacquers.
yeah, yeah. I'm doing like house tours and stuff. I'm going outside and filming. Fuck doing
I'm gonna
anything
be
commentary related.
comparing the colors of like different blades of grass.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And in your like Mutahar video, your most recent one, you said that was kind of like a teaser or like introduction, right?
Indeed.
Um, before your like this big video. Of course, like don't spoil it. You don't have to spoil everything or whatever. But you're working on this big video. How's that going?
My plan is to get it ready within like a month. I'm gonna like record the voiceover soon, like the
Mm-hmm.
bits that I still need, and you know, depending on I can always like just like get it done like quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on how much I want to like put effort into certain elements of it. Because that video that I just put out, like I thought that was like very lazy editing.
Yeah.
Like I was very like lazy with putting any kind of visuals on. I just like have that like loop that I
Mm-hmm.
used to use on like a Twitch stream as like a pause background, and I just like slap it on there. It's like, well, whatever. So,
Yeah.
there's like
I
very
mean, it
very
works quite
little
well.
graphics, but it's still people still like the video and it's like still works. So I guess it doesn't matter that much as I
Yeah.
thought it would.
Well, I mean, I think it kind of goes to show. I mean, like, there's a big focus on like editing, right, and like making your visuals the best it can be. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I think it goes to show that like as long as there's something on screen, right, as long as there's something going on, it isn't you're not filming your fucking carpet and talking about something. People will watch. It isn't so much about the editing, more about what you're saying, your the scripting quality, the actual quality of the video itself, right? The clips you're
yeah.
talking about, the things you're talking about. As long as you've got that there, the editing, and there's something on screen at least, right? The editing where it's better, high quality stuff kind of comes secondary to that.
I
Um,
mean, most people
Ultimately,
don't even watch the video. They just like have it on the background
yeah,
or on a
yeah.
second monitor while they play games.
Yeah, and then they leave comments, whatever. A lot of people, I mean, even with the video essays, it's funny, right? They put so much effort into the editing, but anytime I watch like a video essay, it's always while I'm playing a game or I'm like doing something around the house. Like, I'm never actually looking at like the visuals they've spent like fucking like weeks on.
Same.
Um, for like that video's coming out sooner than I thought it would. And I mean, for Mutahar, if that video does like even a fraction of the like amount of views that this video has, I mean that's just like one strike after the other. I'd be kicking
Indeed.
myself if I was in Mutahar's position. He's got to respond to this if he does, right? Even do that, and then 1 month later he's got to fucking respond again, maybe.
Pretty much.
It's just you'd be kicking us. I think the only benefit would be the fact that it's like his response would get a lot of views for him, so he can slap as many mid rolls on there as possible, so he can go find a real job. But just kind of like broadening out from Mutahar, because although you are like been branded kind of as like a Mutahar like A-logger, right?
I'm more of a
you do
Nux
have this,
Taku and Mutahar
yeah,
log, since they
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
work as a duo, you know?
yeah, more brand like, but like you're stretching out to your horizons, right? Looking out at these two people. But of course, you've got a YouTube channel, you've made other content. How did you get more into, just as like a generalized question, how did you get into like making content and stuff?
I had some many years ago, I had like done a couple like online courses on like how to use Adobe tools, Premiere, Illustrator, and stuff
Hmm.
like that. And during like the events of the whole Nux Taku drama, I had to like, hey, I found this video of Mutahar reacting to something in Nux Taku. How do I present this in a way, or like I want chat logic to see this, so I had to
Hmm.
like censor it myself. And that's like step one to producing or to making the video of my own. But then,
Yeah.
when that came out, I made like I looked into like how to do better stuff, and I like put
Hmm.
out the video that came out in October last year, which
Yeah.
has quite a lot of effort put into things which don't really need as much effort put
Hmm.
into them.
Yeah. um well, with that, like and like moving forward, of course you've covered Mutahar and Nux like a lot. Do you plan on covering other people, or is this like your bread and butter and like what you want to do is like not just like internally A-log them, but like get all this information out about them? Or do you
I
plan
have
on like
no
covering other
idea.
people?
I genuinely don't know what I would do next.
Because
I
like
guess
I
maybe
know
something
quite a
will come
charged
along.
question. Yeah, yeah. I mean, ultimately, like in the commentary sphere, not that everybody's like waiting, right? But you're kind of waiting for like the next big thing, right? The next person that comes along and slips up and says something, right? Where you can like dive into them, right? Because I mean, there's probably hundreds of people like Mutahar, right? That just haven't been discovered at the moment, right? Who are
Indeed,
these compulsive liars, have these giant big histories, but at the moment have like an incredibly good reputation because they haven't slipped up or they haven't been involved in a controversy.
indeed.
Um, so there's a lot that kind of fit that like niche and like what you're covering at the moment. And like I do realize, right, that like it's quite a charged question about like would you cover like anything else or whatever, and like what would you do in the future, because the possibilities are endless. I mean, you haven't even finished with like the Mutahar stuff at the moment. Which there is so much like left, seemingly, right, from like this big video you're making to like possible responses from him. You've got a lot on your plate just in terms of Mutahar alone, let alone trying to like figure out anything else for your content. Because of this Mutahar video as well, you've kind of got a proper audience now, of people there, who are at least like subscribed through the Mutahar video. Of course, like we touched on like the fact that like you didn't like expect the video to do well. But now that it has, like how do you feel about that? Because like I ask quite a lot of people when they have like a video that does blow up like pretty suddenly, how they feel about it, especially when it's like not one of their first, right, but a few of their first videos. There's like a lot of pressure on that. Like, how have you dealt with that? Was there any pressure, or have you been like pretty like chill about the whole thing?
I've been pretty like pretty relaxed. Nothing
Hmm.
really has come up that's bothered me much.
Yeah, I mean, you seem to have dealt with it like really well, especially on Twitter, talking about like the issues that have like come away from it, like people like them saying that they're getting like harassed about it or like doxxed or whatever. You seem to have dealt with it in a pretty good way. Because I know like a lot of people when they have like a big video, even if there are like experienced creators, they do tend to panic when a video gets like a lot of traction very quickly, and the video goes around. So it's pretty like not unique, but like a different view to talk to someone who like kind of has like the lid on. Where they're not panicking, they're not like stressing out that their video is just fucking like blown up. But like I guess it is like a bit of like a new experience for you, right? It's like I know
Yeah,
your other video did well, but like this is the first video to like get to this level, where like
Indeed.
all these people are covering it and stuff. Like I know, was it WestJet that covered your video?
I think he was
And
the
you
first big one
yeah.
to look at it.
And I know you made like a post like talking, because did he get like backlash for covering that like in the
I
first day
just saw
or so?
like I just saw someone say that like, oh, he made a video about this in like 24 hours. It's like, no, I don't care about that.
Yeah,
It's
I
I'm
don't.
fine.
Yeah,
I'm fine as long as people credit me for what I've done. Yeah,
well, exactly.
it's totally fine. Like monetize as you wish. It's all right.
Yeah, as long as people aren't like fucking like basically just re-uploading your video,
Or tearing away my credit from it.
Yeah, exactly. But commentary at the end of the day, right? Like this is what happens. You've like kind of created that topic, right? So of course people are like gonna do it. Which I think from like an audience perspective, I can probably kind of understand that. Oh, look, this guy's just covering the exact same video, right? Talking about like the same things. But that's like commentary, right? That's like this is what it is.
Yeah.
Is a topic happens, everyone covers the exact same thing, and then you just choose who you want to watch. And most people anyway are going to watch your video and then watch someone else's coverage of it. Ultimately, right? People are going to be interested to see, oh, what does Nicholas Dury think about this? I know. So some guy might be thinking, oh, what does Dickers think about this? Right? I want to go see Dickers coverage. Ultimately, that's what it is, because you're one of the focal points here of this like brand new big topic that's popped off. Which I'm so glad, right? You kind of saved everyone from like the what was it, iDubbbz, Destiny, Hassan, like fucking loop
The
that everyone was
EHD
going
nightmare.
on. Yeah, fuck God, awful stuff. I like making fun of iDubbbz especially as much as anybody else. But it's
It gets
refreshing
kind of tiring.
to see everyone else. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, now is 100% tiring. It's been months of it, so it's nice to see everybody kind of like talking about like a brand new big topic that isn't that related to Hassan and stuff, because I couldn't give a shit. Like, yeah, he's a cunt. I don't what else am I don't like. There just isn't much more to it. Well, there does feel like to be a lot of stuff in Mutahar.
I've been called a Hassan fan or a Hassan defender for some reason.
Why?
I don't know. I guess it's because during like early in the year, because Mutahar, like one of my kind of schemes has been trying to like ignite like a drama or like a heated drama between Mutahar and Hassan. So I uploaded like a part of Mutahar's live stream where he's like ranting about Hassan, expecting some kind of like something to blow up, and like people in Hassan's camp to look into like the whole Nux Taku thing. But that didn't work out.
So that would have been great if it did.
I didn't realize that it would be like I had to do this to like to make things happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, as soon as you mention that someone's like lying, right? That's like the biggest thing I found from like doing like topic commentary stuff after doing documentary stuff and bits is anything to do with lying, right? People fucking love. People will like go towards that like like a moth to a flame. As soon as you mention that somebody's lying, it just piques people's interest immediately, right? And especially when you present it in this way, it's what really gets people like interested, especially on like a platform like YouTube and Twitter. Because I think there's like an innate thing, right, about discovering that somebody's been lying for like years, and like going back through and then pointing out all the things that they've lied about, right? That seemingly, without the context that they're lying, like mean absolutely nothing. But I think there's something interesting there. I think there's something that grips like a viewer and an audience member. So now you've done that, and now you've like kind of got this base audience of people that are interested in Mutahar, are interested. What you have to say next about it. From this point on, I think you can stir these dramas more. You can bring up these talking points more. You can probably mention the Hassan thing now, and it will get like more traction. And you can start now. You're in a pretty good position to be able to just fling some shit at a fucking Mutahar. Ultimately, but yeah, I mean, it's insane to the degree that the whole situation's got to this extent where all these people are talking about it, where we're even talking about the fact that Mutahar could possibly make a response, right? That he's been gone for 6 odd days, that it's been a while.
Last time it was 1.5 weeks, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's so funny. Like
I
you would
mean,
think, yeah,
the difference between like this time and last time, right, is that I put out my video, Mutahar ignores it, no one gives a fuck. But then
mhm,
Hassan Piker looks at it, and Mutahar panics, panics like hell. And he's
yeah,
like, oh my God, I have to like respond now. And his own audience is like, what the hell is going on? Like, where did this come from? Post Nux Taku, what is that?
yeah,
And then he takes it down within hours, and everyone's just confused and stunned, at least the mainstream audiences.
yeah.
And what's happening this time is that like the, the enemies are banging at the gates, and like Mutahar's not in the comment section, and Mutahar's not saying anything.
Which you would think that he would like not like make a big public statement just immediately, right? Like I do understand from probably his perspective that like let's say he is just gonna like disprove your entire video, right? Probably wants to get some stuff together, right, first. But you'd think that he might at least like, make a tweet or put something on his community tab just saying that
Yeah,
look, I've
like
seen the video, right? This is the thing. I am gonna respond, I am gonna disprove this guy, have a bit of confidence there.
mm,
Just it hasn't happened. Like it's been radio silent, which I think has kind of only stoked it further. Him not saying anything whatsoever has kind of stoked it, where people are actively looking for him to say something. So they're going to continue to dig. They're going to continue to find things, to keep like this drama like going on, right, until he responds. So I think he's already kind of fucked up in the sense that he just hasn't mentioned it whatsoever. He hasn't said that, this is what I'm doing. I am making a response. Look, I've got proof that, I am an engineer or I am this, I'm that. There just hasn't been anything. He's just left it. It's kind of like he's gone on holiday. He's gone on vacation. He's taking this opportunity to
pretty
like
much,
fucking
yeah.
lay in the sun somewhere. Which I think it's such a bizarre move because
I mean,
surely
I
he could have
think,
foreseen.
well, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna like say like surely he could have foreseen that by not saying anything, he's only just gonna charge up the audience that are critiquing him further.
Yes, indeed. Um, Something that like Harmful Opinions has been looking into is this like idea that like Mutahar, while he's not in 2015 anymore,
Hmm.
he still kind of has those signs of being like that kid who like really cares about how people on YouTube perceive him.
Yeah,
And like this is kind of a thing that like really seems to really like bother him, that he might receive such like bad negative like backlash about stuff. And like I think Augie told a story about this, well, like with the facial cream company or something.
hmm,
Apparently Mutahar, like the product got some backlash, and when
yeah.
Mutahar was involved in it, he left and then like shat on the product just because like there was a little bit of backlash on it. So he seems to be really scared of being perceived in like a poor light, and
Yeah,
just cannot handle like being disliked.
it does seem like his the thing he fears most is just anybody talking like anything negative about him or any type of backlash whatsoever to whatever degree. It seems like it scares him. I mean, even with the Nux Taku stuff, that's something that's very clear, right? He was very panicky. That entire situation, the people were having backlash towards him, and like he kind of got like whatever he did, in that situation, people were gonna like fucking like shit on him, to a certain degree at least. But he just made it worse for himself. Like I think Mutahar's like flaw is he just can't respond well or can't like react to a situation so well because he's putting his reputation before he's putting his responses. So he just kind of puts like himself in like an awful position where he fucks himself over even more. Like I can't imagine if he does respond here that he's going to come up with like a most amazing response ever. I feel like he's only going to fuck himself further. Um,
Well,
because
one
he
of
does
the
panic.
yeah, one of the things, like if you look at the Nintendo Switch apology,
Yeah.
like he does not articulate himself particularly well, or doesn't seem to be like, he doesn't seem very skilled at expressing his own thoughts and feelings,
Yeah.
and seems to be very afraid of ever like admitting like, oh, yeah, I lied about being an engineer because I was insecure about my own like academic achievements or lack thereof. Like that, you could say
Yeah.
that.
I mean,
You could say it that
yeah.
easily. Like the amount that you care about it, kind of like it signals to the amount that you care about it yourself. Like it signals to like the bloodhounds, or like oh, or like the wolves or the sharks in the water. If you just take a choice of an analogy,
Yeah.
that this person is someone that we can go after and really like get something out of him, really push his buttons.
Well,
And
yeah.
the more you're like, it's like, oh yeah, I fucked up. That's it. I did do
Well,
this.
yeah.
Like
But I mean,
if you can
ultimately,
let it go that easily, it's like
yeah.
it's gonna be so like over so quickly.
Well, an audience respects that, right? If you're just
Mm,
open and just admit your lie and go, yeah, well, look, I fucked up here, or I lied about this. There's no excuse here, but this is something that I did do. People are going to be 100 times more responsive to that than a bunch of fucking like fumbled excuses, right? Where you're trying to explain yourself but not taking any accountability whatsoever, right? I'm not saying he
mm.
has to sit there if it's like genuinely the case, right? Where maybe like he can disprove something in your video. I'm not saying he has to just admit to everything, right, and just like fucking like fumble and like
Yeah,
fall on his own
he
sword,
should
right?
push back on things that I've
Yeah,
gotten wrong. Absolutely.
and then just take accountability for the things that he has been exposed for, and like an audience
Yeah.
respects that. People are going to be more responsive to a response where somebody is taking a bit of an accountability and then giving a pushback with like some evidence, right? People are going to be more responsive to that instead of just this rambled mess where you're trying to defend yourself, where you're not taking accountability whatsoever, where you're not addressing the flaws, where you're not addressing that you've lied here or you've said something here.
Mm.
People are going to be more responsive to that, but I
Yeah,
just don't think he understands that.
when you're omitting details and information that's
Yeah.
important, like if you show your audience like respect that, hey, listen, I know that you're not like a wild pack of monkeys or like animals. I believe that you can handle this information about like what happened here and come to like come to like some kind of a
Yeah.
smart conclusion about it.
Well, look,
And you have to kind of have that
yeah.
attitude with you
Hmm.
when you deal with this kind of controversy.
Well, no, definitely. I mean, from his perspective, right? He probably thinks, look, well, if I don't admit to it, right, I'm only saving my reputation forever. I'm not caving in or whatever. But you save your reputation by admitting to these things, by like then giving a bit of pushback or whatever you need to do in that response. Just by being honest, you're saving your reputation 10 times more than you are by just like lying and fumbling. People
Indeed.
are going to respect that more, and regardless of what you've done. But he's like too panicky when it comes to big situations like this. He like panics. He thinks, oh well, look, my reputation comes first. This is like something that's incredibly important to me. How I'm perceived, very
Mm.
clearly, right? It's why he's been calling himself an engineer and why he's been bragging about it. Why he's been talking about certain elements, right? Why he fucking like fumbled with that whole charity thing. He says these things to perceive himself in a better light, right? To build this better reputation. It's something that means a lot to him very clearly. So I can't imagine there's a world where he just sits down, and of course I will hold my hands up very happily if he just sit down and go, "Well, I lied here," right? But I just can't see him doing that. Like in an ideal world, it would probably be something that would be best for him, but I can't see him doing that. I can't see him sitting down and going, "Look, I lied about this. I lied about that." But I disagree here and like pushing back. I can't see him having a well thought out response. I mean, if he does, that's great, right? That's more content. But I can't see him doing it personally.
Well,
Just from his previous responses.
I put it in a very cringy way at the end of my video, but the only power I have is the one you give me when you lie,
Well,
which is
yeah,
my attempt at like in a very brief manner trying to tell Mutahar that listen, every time you keep doubling down on these fucking lies, like you are making your critics more powerful.
well,
Like
yeah.
the reason my video like circles
Mhm.
around on the YouTube algorithm is because your brand is very like popular. If I make a video about like something else, no one's gonna watch it. Or like video about like some not as popular person, the view count is not going to be the same. And the
Mhm.
reason why people flock to my video is because I have this massive expose that I have on you.
Yeah,
And if you hadn't lied, then I would have nothing.
well, yeah.
If I open up YouTube and I say like Mutahar sucks doo doo, that's not going to get any traction.
Yeah.
No one's going to care.
And I mean, ultimately, as like much as he's given power, he like in this situation, he can easily take it back by just proving himself. It's very easy for him. Like, it's very easy for himself if he isn't lying to just prove that yeah, I'm an engineer. These are the qualifications I've got. This is what I received. Show some proof. And that's it, right? That like ultimately
Yeah,
that's
it
all he has
should
to
be.
do, right? No one's asking for like a giant fucking response.
Yeah,
People
or no one's
people just
asking to be like, no one's asking to access like, oh, what's your home address and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Like very like super private stuff that he cannot show.
Yeah, just like simple like pieces of like paper and like qualifications that he can show on camera, that he can show
Yeah.
without leaking and like doxing his whole fucking like family, right? And it's like a pretty simplistic response. He doesn't have to think about it too hard, and that's kind of what's got me like laughing about the fact he's taken this break, right? Is ultimately this response. He shouldn't take like months, right? This isn't like a response where you're responding to like a big set of allegations, right? These serious types of allegations. it's a video that all he has to make is showing proof that no, I'm actually an engineer. I've done this, I've done that, which seems pretty simplistic, right? Like it doesn't seem like there's not much thought that goes into it because that's the immediate thing you'd go to is, well, yeah, I want to prove that I'm not a liar. This is what I've got.
Yeah.
This is my job. This is like all the qualifications I have. This is a history of whatever, like let's say, like this is a history of my jobs, right? Here's my like applications. This is like whatever I can show. It's like kind of a no-brainer. I mean, it'd take a few days at least to get like the information together properly, and then like script it out to make sure you're not fumbling. I mean, Mutahar does a script, right? Let's not kid ourselves. But to do it properly. So that's why I find it more fascinating that there has been this longer break, and what puts doubt on it being a good response, if a response at all.
Yeah,
I just
like when it comes to his response, like it's given his statements, like one of the things I point out in my video is that like what he calls him being an engineer is stuff that he did 10 years ago, and he's still calling himself like, oh, I'm an engineer, like right now at present, when that's not really how it works. You have to like keep renewing your license and do like all kinds of like these sorts of courses to stay up to date on like whatever the industry is or like whatever the discipline is, to my understanding. And if it is just the case that he's like, oh, I had a job title called engineer, then that's not enough to call himself an engineer. So
well, yeah, I mean, and if that's the case, you should be honest. Just openly admit it. And like, I mean, if he does that, he's gonna get some shit, of course, right? He's gonna get some flack. Oh, well,
absolutely.
look, Mutahar's responded to lying, right? Like he's admitted it. But it's gonna go away 10 times quicker because as soon as he says, "Yeah, I did it," well, where'd you go from there? Bar like looking into other stuff about him. You kind of talk about it, and then people move on. That's what happens. You're the bigger person. That's like you've admitted to something, and then you move on. Well, if you lie, you're only putting yourself in a worse position. But I don't think Mutahar kind of understands that because, like we've already like well established, he's going to put his reputation before that. He's going to think, well, look, if I admit to lying, people are going to brand me as like this big liar. I don't want that.
Yeah, there's no return from that. You cannot do anything. Mutahar, you cannot look 5 years into the future and think like, oh, do I want to be the guy who's still a liar or the guy who stopped being a liar in 2025?
Yeah.
You can't have that perspective, okay? If you're a liar for the next 2 weeks, you're a liar forever.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
I mean, I'll be interested to see what he has to say. Of course, we have no idea, right, what he's going to come up with a response, if one at all. But I do think it's interesting to think about it, to talk about it, especially considering his like track record of responses, even down to the most like small thing like the Nintendo response, right? I think there's a lot there to talk about in terms of a response and the possibility of a response. But yeah, just wrapping this up. Of course, you're making this big video. What's next for you? Of course, I know we kind of like had this conversation about like would you cover anyone else? But is it just really working towards this big Mutahar video?
It is pretty much, yeah. Just well, it's not a big Mutahar video. It's a video about Mutahar and Nux Taku and and also ChatLogic. Well, not as a subject of critique, but as a person involved.
But yeah, someone who's like heavily involved in the situation. And like you said, right, you expect that to come out over the next couple of months or so, depending how like quickly you work on it. Which would be good. Looking forward to that video. And I'm gonna say I really do appreciate you coming on TrashTalk to talk about Mutahar. I know like a lot of the stuff we are talking about like is Mutahar and like Nux Taku related and stuff. Which usually on these type of podcasts, I don't like to focus on one type of topic, but of course, like that is your whole thing, right? At the moment, at least, is Mutahar, Nux Taku. Of course, in the future, like we've said about branching out and other stuff. But at the moment, that is your main thing. That is your bread and butter, per se. And I mean, there is a lot to talk about there. It's a very interesting topic. It's a topic that I think a lot more people are focusing on now, seeing that there's worth in talking about Mutahar, talking about like his history, and it's very interesting. There's like a lot of hope for a topic like this. So I do really appreciate you coming on talking about like Mutahar and Nux Taku and all these other people for like almost like an hour now. So yeah, thank you very much for coming on TrashTalk.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. And thank you, everybody, for watching today's episode. If you did enjoy, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. And once you're done there, you might as well comment down below your thoughts. But I've been your host, Samuel. I've been here with a very special guest, and I will catch you in the next episode of the Trash Talk podcast.